Good afternoon. I'm Fred Hudson, NDSU Staff Senate President, and I would like to welcome everyone to the NDSU Day of Honor. To those of you both in person and online, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Since 2013, NDSU Day of Honor has been a time when we come together to remember the students, faculty, and staff members who have passed away during the previous calendar year. While they may be gone, each person will always be a member of the Bison family, and their memories live on in all of us. The NDSU Day of Honor requires the contributions of many people, and I would like to thank Joanne Miller and Michael Weber for sharing their musical gifts with us. President Cook, Jane Shue, and Alex Dewar for sharing their thoughts, and the Day of Honor Committee for all their work in planning and delivering this ceremony. It's my pleasure to introduce NDSU President David Cook.
Fred is a little taller than me, I think. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. And hello and good afternoon to everybody in the room and everyone online. I'd like to start by just extending my deepest condolences to everybody in the room and to everyone online, to the family and friends of those who have passed away, and especially the NDSU community who, no matter what, seems to show up when we need them most. And so I'm grateful to all of you here to help support those who had a loved one pass this last year. This is, in all honesty, I started in May, and I think this is sort of one of those moments, leading up to it that is kind of one of the harder ones that I've had to face in the short time that I've been in this role. But I also think it's one of the more important moments that I have as well. So I think it's really important that we come together and we together mourn and remember and celebrate and honor those members, the 14 members of our community that have passed on in the last year. So for me, about a year ago, I was a candidate to get this job, and I had a final kind of exit interview, if you will, where they asked me questions like, so what do you think of NDSU? What does your wife think of NDSU? What do you think of Fargo? What do you think of North Dakota? And I think I was pretty worn out at that point, but I just kept saying the people are what make this place special. And I gave that same answer literally to like the first 3 questions right out of the chute. I might've been a little brain dead, but I meant it. And here we are a year later, more or less. And I have the same answer. I was out of the state at an event, meeting a whole bunch of Bison down south, and repeatedly get asked the same questions. What makes NDSU so special? Why would you uproot your family to come up here? And for me, it's about the people. And I still believe that. And it's about how we all come together and we create community, and we really make a difference to everybody who's here. And the 14 people who we are honoring here today, I think they too are the kind of folks that just make NDSU such a special place. So I was looking through the program, and I was just intrigued by just seeing all the diversity in terms of the kind of things that they did to make a difference here. We have administrative assistants, we have academic assistants, we have people from facilities and from dining, obviously all kinds of different faculty and different levels of faculty, all coming together that I think truly make this institution special. And then you look a little deeper and you find that we had a few that have been here for a few years. We had a number who have been here 30 years or plus. And you just know that they all come together. I think the average or the majority of them have been here for over 20 years. And you just know that the people who have passed on really left their mark and made this a very special place. And for me, if you've heard me speak, I'm a big believer in the power of education and of higher education, of course. I'm a big believer that education and higher education changes people's lives, but I also think it changes generations of families and lives as well. When you see people who have been here for generations, you know that their impact has been significant. And I want to thank them and all of you for that. So I have no doubt that the 14 individuals that we're honoring here today are a big part of our community, a big part of making NDSU so special. And all the family and the friends here and online, I want to say thank you for sharing your loved ones with us for all of these years. Please accept my deepest condolences for your loss, and especially my deepest appreciation for their impact in making NDSU such a special place. So thank you all. Go ahead. And I was going to, and Jane Chu is going to come up to the table and up to the podium and speak next.
He's a little taller than I am. So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for NDSU's Day of Honor. Today, our NDSU family stands together to remember the NDSU colleagues and friends who we have lost in the past year. I'm Jane Chu. I'm a professor in microbiological sciences and serve as the Director for Special Initiatives for Agricultural Affairs. I've been asked to provide a few comments for today. You might wonder how a person gets ready to deliver comments for a day such as this. Of course, many of our honorees were friends and colleagues who I knew. That makes it easier to talk about their contributions. It also makes it a lot harder. Many were at NDSU, though, long before I was a faculty member or even a student, and that's been a while. I did what I guess you normally would do. I went searching for snippets and stories of their life. Although only 14 individuals, they shared hundreds of hours of years of service to NDSU, over 300 years of service in those 14 individuals. On campus, they fed us, they kept us warm and safe, they helped us find our way. They were passionate teachers, thoughtful administrators, and worked to make the university a place where all are welcome. When I read through the stories of the lives of these individuals, the things that came to mind again and again was service, community, and lifelong learning. And the many things that we maybe wouldn't know about their contributions if we only looked at them through one lens. Many had leadership roles in their academic work or in their fields of research. For example, Jean not only served as an English professor, but she also taught at Turtle Mountain Tribal College, and later went on to be the provost of Tri College here in Fargo-Moorhead. Donna's lifelong vocation for teaching was complemented by her service as president of the Faculty Senate and longtime scorekeeper for NDSU athletics. Speaking of Bison athletics, was there ever a fan so devoted as Donna or David or Keith? Unless perhaps you're talking about Chris. That woman was a force of nature in her gold and green. She was also an unswerving advocate for students in the TRIO and Upward Bound programs. Ron served as department chair, a thankless job if ever there was one, and continues to contribute to student success even now through a scholarship in his name. Howard was an innovator in online education well before his time, winning awards for his contributions to language arts that filled his time and provided a career even post-NDSU. Outside of NDSU, these individuals spent their time as volunteers, members of their faith communities, keepers of their tribe's stories, and encouragers of the young, readers of good books, and they were excellent cooks. I was amazed at how many people were cooks, really good cooks. They were civic leaders, advocates for the arts, and they were cheerleaders for the good in this world. Many built community through their love of sports, whether cheering, participating, or watching treasured grandchildren. As I caught a glimpse of these extraordinary people's ordinary lives through the eyes of those who knew them, worked with them, and loved them, I was touched by their contribution again and again to community. The things they did every day made it a more beautiful place for all of us. I was particularly struck by how many of our honorees contributed to the creative arts. After a 30-year career at NDSU in counseling, Peggy, continued to support students through her support of NDSU choral arts. Lorraine was a gardener. Lori loved baking. Wade, also a baker, was a storyteller and loved music. David was an amateur radio enthusiast, and Jill was a crafter. Milton was always working on a project and loved learning new things. He was always thinking about the built environment and how it could frame a better, more beautiful atmosphere for the people who used it. They all had something in common: roots in the prairie of the North and love of our very special community at NDSU. I have been a student, a faculty member, an academic administrator, and a staff member at NDSU. At every level, I have seen the power of that community time and time again. It's around us when we celebrate our successes, and it's around us when we grieve. Today, we celebrate our friends who proudly wore the yellow and green. Some had just started their time with us. Others spent nearly 40 years in service to the university. Today, we celebrate their accomplishments and we mourn their loss. My dear, dear friends, we will carry on your legacy. Once a bison, always a bison. Rest in peace. Lori Askew. Lorraine Burnt. Jill Blazek. Keith Davis. David Barden. Peggy Gaynor. Wade Arliss. Ronald Matheson. Chris Mickelson. Douglas Olson. Howard Pete. Jean Strandness. Donna Turbizin. And Milton Jurgens.
Thank you, Joanne and Michael. Hello, and thank you all for being here today in honor of our friends, colleagues, and loved ones. My name is Alex Dewar, and I'm the Student Body Vice President. In thinking about what I wanted to say today, my thoughts immediately went to a saying that I've heard many times since stepping foot on campus. The strength of the bison is the herd, and the strength of the herd are the bison. Each of these people have enriched and strengthened the community at NDSU, in Fargo, and beyond, more than any of us could have imagined. Each played a part in shaping NDSU into a community that cares for one another, a community that understands that once a bison, always a bison, no matter what. A community which garnered my love and the love of many others. As a nursing student, I had the pleasure of getting to know Lori Askew a little. Her smile was infectious, and she made each person who walked into the nursing offices feel the intrinsic love that she had for others. While I wasn't lucky enough to get to know the other honorees, I have no doubt that there are similar stories from students, coworkers, and friends at NDSU. For each of them, they have made impacts, big and small, in ways known and unknown. We must now honor and continue their legacies by trying to do the same for our community and for others. I'd like to end with a quote by Greek historian Thucydides. "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone, but what is woven into the lives of others." Thank you. If you would now join us in singing of the yellow and the green.